Welcome. You're joining us for a deep dive into what feels like a pretty significant moment for the Indian cricket team. Things seem to be shifting behind the scenes.
Absolutely. It's never quiet for long in Indian cricket, is it?
Yeah.
And these latest changes to the support staff, they definitely feel like a reaction to recent events.
Right, so let's set the scene for you. We're talking about a major shakeup in the coaching and support team. This comes hot on the heels of that, let's be honest, disappointing 1-3 series loss to Australia back in April 2025.
A tough series, yeah. And there were those murmurs, too, weren't there, about potential leaks from the dressing room. That always gets the board's attention.
It certainly does. So the BCCI seems to have decided on quite a decisive course of action. We're looking at a real restructuring. And our mission here for you is to unpack all of this.
Yeah, to understand the why. Why these specific people? Why now? Especially with that big five-test series against England looming in June. That's a huge challenge.
Exactly. So we'll be looking at the reports, connecting the dots for you, trying to make sense of who's out, who's in, and what it all means for Team India going forward. Okay, let's start with the departures. Who are we talking about?
Well, the reports point to three key figures leaving. Assistant coach Abhishek Nayar, the fielding coach T Dilip, and also the strength and conditioning coach Soham Desai.
Okay, let's take Abhishek Nayar first. Many of you will know him, former Mumbai all-rounder, huge domestic career, over 100 first-class games. He only joined as assistant coach last July 2024.
Right, and the thinking seemed to be that he could be a bridge, between head coach Gautam Gambhir and captain Rohit Sharma, help the batters, keep the dressing room atmosphere positive, that sort of thing.
But things hadn't gone smoothly on the test front, have they? That 0-3 home whitewash against New Zealand, then the 1-3 loss in Australia, that's a tough record.
It really is, and that seems to be the official line, or part of it. Poor performance in those key series put him under the microscope.
But there's maybe more to it. The reports get a bit juicy here. There's talk of a powerful member of the support staff finding his presence counterproductive after that Australia tour.
Yeah. That apparently came up in a BCCI review meeting. It suggests, maybe it wasn't just about the results on the field, maybe some internal dynamics at play.
Could be. And then you see Sitanshu Kotak, the former Saurashtra batsman, being brought in as batting coach around the time India actually won the Champions Trophy in February. Was Nair already being sidelined then, perhaps?
It's possible. It looks like Kotak's role became more prominent, potentially reducing Nayar's influence even before this formal departure. Adds another layer for you to consider.
Okay, let's move to T Dilip, the fielding coach. He's become quite famous for those fielding medal ceremonies, hasn't he?
He has. And, you have to say, India's fielding has looked sharper under him. Fewer drops, more intensity, more runouts created.
Yeah.
Most people would say he's done a good job.
Yeah, definitely noticeable improvements for you watching at home. He was actually a holdover from Rahul Dravid's time as coach, so why is he out?
This seems to be down to a new policy, a new standard operating procedure, or SOP, that the BCCI apparently brought in this year, 2025. It limits support staff tenure to 3 years.
Ah, okay, so Dilip had been there longer than 3 years.
Seems so. So he becomes one of the first casualties of this new rule, despite the perceived good work. And fans haven't been quiet about it online.
No, I bet not. What's the feeling?
A lot of disappointment, really. You see people on X asking, why fix something that isn't broken? Someone made the analogy it's like benching Virat Kohli after one bad shot. As the fielding's improved, why change the coach based on a time limit?
It's a fair point, isn't it? Raises questions about the flexibility of the rule. Okay, third departure. Soham Desai, the strength and conditioning coach.
Yep, he's been there over 3 years, too. Generally credited with keeping the players fit, which is obviously crucial with the amount of cricket they play.
And his departure, same reason, the new 3-year SOP.
That appears to be the case. Like Dilip, he seems to have fallen foul of the 10-year cap.
And the fan reaction, similar.
Pretty similar, yeah. Again, the logic is being questioned. You see comments like, the lads look fitter than ever, fitter than a gym bro, so why the change? It does make you wonder about applying a blanket rule like that.
It definitely brings up that whole debate, doesn't it? Consistency versus maybe sticking with what works, even if it breaks a new rule. Okay, so 3 out, but there's also a big name coming back in, isn't there?
There is indeed Adrian Le Roux, the South African strength and conditioning coach. For those of you who remember, he was with India before.
Yes, early 2000s under Sourav Ganguly's captaincy. He's widely credited with, well, pretty much revolutionizing India's fitness culture back then.
He really is. That period saw a massive shift in how seriously India took fitness, and it paid off. Think about that 2003 World Cup run, reaching the final. Le Roux was seen as key to that physical
Well,
preparedness,
he's coming back to replace Desai. Where has he been?
currently with Punjab Kings in the IPL. But yeah, the expectation is he'll rejoin Team India right after the IPL season finishes,
Yeah.
and the hopes are high.
I can imagine people hoping for that magic touch again, especially after maybe some slightly sluggish fielding moments in that Australia series you mentioned.
Exactly. There's real buzz about his return. You see fans online getting quite excited, mentioning his past success with Ganguly's team. Someone even joked about the samosas disappearing again, a nod to his strict approach back then.
Ah. Well, his timing couldn't be more crucial, could it? That England tour. 5 tests in English conditions. Fitness is going to be absolutely paramount.
Oh, massively. Swinging ball,
Yeah.
potentially damp conditions, long days in the field, running between the wickets. Endurance is key. You need players peaking physically for that kind of challenge. Le Roux's expertise will be vital.
So let's circle back to this SOP, the 3-year rule. The BCCI's reasoning, as we understand it, is about keeping things fresh, avoiding complacency.
That seems to be the official rationale, yeah.
Yeah.
Bring in new ideas, prevent people from getting too entrenched. Dilip and Desai are just the first examples of this policy in action.
But as we've touched on, it's drawn criticism, people questioning if it's wise to lose effective coaches just because a deadline's up.
Absolutely. The counter-argument is strong. Is continuity not valuable? Does good performance not count for anything beyond 3 years? You see terms like bureaucracy gone wild or a revolving door for coaches popping up.
Yeah, and what about job security? If you're a top coach, does the 3-year limit make the role less attractive? It's something to consider, isn't it?
It definitely could. Top talent usually looks for stability and the chance to build something long-term. It's a potential downside the BCCI will have to weigh up.
Now, aside from the SOP, there's all this background noise, the speculation. The BCCI hasn't exactly been crystal clear, have they? Promising a press note, but details are still a bit murky.
No, the official communication has been, let's say, brief. And that always fuels speculation, doesn't it? Especially in
Yeah.
Indian cricket. The void gets filled with rumors.
And the main rumor seems to circle back to Abhishek Nayar and that alleged clash with a high-profile member of the support staff, possibly someone close to Gambhir.
That narrative has certainly gained traction. And as you mentioned earlier, bringing in Kotak as batting coach during the Champions Trophy, well, it could be seen as evidence supporting that theory of internal politics or friction.
It makes you wonder about the dynamics within that coaching group. Was everyone pulling in the same direction?
That's the question, isn't it? And then there's the issue of those alleged dressing room leaks during the Australia tour. That's a huge red flag for the BCCI.
Definitely.
Yeah.
They guard dressing room sanctity fiercely. If they felt information was getting out, a shakeup might have seemed necessary to plug those leaks, regardless of other factors.
It's a plausible contributing factor. You also hear that Nayar wasn't perhaps Gambhir's first choice anyway, that he was brought in partly because of his existing relationship with Rohit Sharma to kind of smooth things over given the reportedly frosty relationship between captain and coach.
Right, which adds a layer of irony, doesn't it? The guy brought in, partly as a mediator, is now one of the ones leaving. The analogy someone used about firing the chef because the diner didn't like the vibe seems quite apt here. It feels complex.
It does. It suggests the reasons might be multifaceted, not just a simple performance review or SOP application.
Okay, so looking forward, what does the support staff lineup look like for the England tour, based on reports?
Well, we have Adrian Le Roux confirmed for strength and conditioning. Tanshu Kotak seems set to continue as batting coach. Morni Morkel stays as bowling coach. And interestingly, Ryan Tendoshete, the other assistant coach, is apparently taking over fielding duties as well.
Ah, so Tendoshet is covering fielding now. No direct replacement named for Nayar's assistant coach role then.
It doesn't seem like it, no. It suggests maybe a slightly leaner structure, or perhaps Gambhir feels Tendaish. Doshe can handle a broader remit.
Interesting. And the timing, again, is just so critical. England, 5 tests starting June 20th, especially after missing out on the World Test Championship final spot. The pressure is immense.
Absolutely huge. A good performance in England would go a long way to steadying the ship after the recent test wobbles. A bad series. Wow, that would increase the pressure even more.
And the board knows it, pushing for Rohit and Virat to play those India A games against the England Lions beforehand shows they want them match ready.
Sensible move. Get them acclimatized, get them some time in the middle, in English conditions before the main event kicks off. Smart preparation.
So what's the general vibe from fans now, looking ahead, still processing the changes?
It seems like a mix. Cautious optimism, perhaps. Hope that Le Roux brings back the 2003 magic, as someone put it. But also, you sense a bit of weariness, that musical chairs feeling with the support staff changes. A sense of, here we go again.
Yeah, you can understand that. Stability is important too. So the big question really, is this an overreaction by the BCCI?
Well, it's definitely bold. You look at the record. 6 losses in the last 9 tests, including those heavy defeats. That's worrying form.
True. But they did win the Champions Trophy in February. It's not like the wheels have completely come off across all formats.
Exactly. So was such a drastic overhaul needed right before a crucial test series? Or could it disrupt things further? That's the debate.
And Nayar's exit remains a key point of discussion, doesn't it? He had success with KKR in the IPL just before this, credited with helping young players. It muddies the waters if you're trying to argue it was purely performance-based.
It really does. It fuels the speculation that maybe internal politics or those alleged clashes played a bigger role than admitted. And the BCCI's lack of detailed explanation, well, it doesn't help clear things up. Just wait for the press note.
And that brings us back to the potential long-term impact of the SOP too. Does it risk making Team India coaching roles feel like short-term gigs? That temp agency comment you mentioned earlier really sticks.
It's a valid concern for attracting and retaining top coaching talent in the long run. Finding that balance between freshness and stability is tricky.
Okay, so let's try and summarize this for everyone listening. We've seen a major clear-out and restructuring of India's support staff. Key figures like Nayar, Dilip, and Desai are out.
Driven, it seems, by a mix of recent poor test results, the implementation of a new 3-year tenure policy, and potentially some underlying internal dynamics or political factors.
And coming in, the big return of Adrian Le Roux for fitness, bringing hopes of a renewed focus in that area ahead of the vital England tour.
Right, with Ryan Tendoshate apparently adding fielding to his duties, Kotak continuing with batting, and Morkel with bowling. A slightly reshuffled deck.
So the final thought we want to leave you with is this. Is this decisive, almost surgical action by the BCCI a masterstroke? A necessary intervention to reignite the team before a massive series?
Or could it be a knee-jerk reaction? Something that might actually create more uncertainty and instability just when the team needs to focus. What do you think the lasting effect of these changes will be on Team India's path forward? Definitely something to ponder as we wait to see how it all plays out on the field in England.